Jet Set Radio, it's a game you've likely heard of at one point or another if you've been gaming for as long as I have. Or perhaps you know it as Jet Grind Radio. Hell, some people think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I always enjoyed the game myself, and feel for fans that have been waiting so long for a proper follow-up. But since Jet Set Radio Future's release in 2002 on the Xbox, rumors of another game in the franchise simmered and circulated, seemingly forever now, but Team Reptile won't keep y'all waiting a moment longer with its release of Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Before we get into the review, however, consider skating on over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. Gain access to our amazing indie Discord community, exclusive live streams, ad-free shows, and more. Your community is waiting. Thanks for bringing a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. So, I talked quite a bit about Jet Set Radio in that intro, but let's forget about that for a moment and focus on what Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is. Imagine you have a magical cauldron. You throw a dash of Tony Hawk in there, a pinch of combat, and strangely enough, a spoonful of graffiti? Something like Bomb Rush Cyberfunk would boil over. You'll begin this game in what appears to be a prison where you're suddenly busted out by a man named Trice. Here it's revealed that your name is Fox, which surprises Trice for reasons. I don't really want to spoil things too much here because, you know, the joy of discovery and such. Long story short, things escalate in a hurry. You lose your head? Yes, that's correct. And you come to be known as Red because of your shiny new robotic head. Now you'll need to skateboard, roller skate, and bike through a variety of different urban landscapes to claim territories and get your head back in the game, literally. This is absolutely nothing like I was expecting out of this game. The narrative is bonkers, it goes some interesting directions at times, and I really quite enjoyed it. Now actually playing Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is even more enjoyable than that off-the-wall storyline. Your main goal is to go around these different parts of town spreading graffiti in order to earn rep points and progress the story forward. Graffiti spots are easy to identify as they'll typically be well marked, though they are not always so simple to reach. Sometimes you'll need to reach new heights to access them, or maybe even discover a little alleyway. One thing's for sure, they're all fun to locate. It's not just about the graffiti, however, as some non-playable characters will offer you additional challenges which often involve mimicking their movesets, and you'll even run into a boss battle or two. Controls in this title feel quite exquisite. You interact with characters using the right bumper and can easily toggle between skating and being on foot with the press of a button. The advantage of being on foot is that you can slide, entering areas that might otherwise have been unreachable. But the real fun, of course, is in the skating mechanics, which are phenomenal here. Players can easily glide along rails, perform tricks with simplistic button commands, and they'll look damn stylish doing it. I'll admit I'm terrible at the Tony Hawk games, but Bomb Rush Cyberfunk to me felt like what I was always wanting out of that series. Stringing together combos is a breeze, bringing great satisfaction as your multiplier increases, thus unleashing an epic high score. Jumping and dashing also feel excellent, and performing manuals to extend combos has never been easier in any skating game that I've ever played. Players will be scaling walls and pulling off awesome combos in no time. There's a real level of polish with Bomb Rush that few indie games manage to obtain. Your characters have a cell phone on them at all times. Here you'll get messages, you can change the music, look at different graffiti combinations, which are inputted through a very simplistic minigame, and more. Because yes, there's also a map built into this phone that works shockingly well. It shows you the next waypoint, it's easy enough to get to that waypoint. I would say if you had to nitpick something in this game, it would be the combat. As you spread more graffiti, a heat meter fills, which sends the coppers after you along with some turrets. They shoot chains at you and you kind of have to mash away at the Y button in order to try to escape them. But there's never really the threat of actually dying in this game. You do have a health meter, but Bomb Rush Cyberfunk really isn't about difficulty so much as it is about just exploring it and having fun. But to level some criticism, I will say that the boss fights weren't all that creative and felt kind of unnecessary. I guess you could say the same for the combat in general. Each character has a different mode of transportation, either a bike, skates, or a skateboard. A little later in the game, you'll learn some sick dance moves for these characters. There are designated areas on the map where you can perform your little dancey dance to switch between all the characters. They kinda all end up playing fairly similar to one another because you'll also gain the ability to swap out their conveyance method. That said, there were a few moments in the story that called for certain characters, so I did indeed have to switch to them in order to complete a certain mission. As you approach the end of a level or world or whatever you want to refer to it as, there's typically going to be a big showdown between you and enemy factions where you'll have to out-combo them. These sections are pretty fun, even if I did lose a few times. Outside of that, there are new skins to unlock for your boards, there's new clothing styles for your characters, so quite a few unlockables here in a pretty lengthy campaign that could last players well over 10 hours if they seek out everything. I was equally impressed with the visuals and performance in Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. This looks so much like a Dreamcast game that it's almost unbelievable to me. I legitimately was teleported back to the year 2000. That does mean some pretty low poly character models and environments at times, and yet the art works really well even in 2023. I was able to play the game in 4K where the vibrant colors, the varied levels, and personality of the game truly shined. Blazing fast frame rates over 200 FPS are also pretty easily achievable in this one, making it a smooth, well-optimized product. I think folks who have no attachment to older consoles like the Dreamcast might be a little perplexed at the stylistic choices, but me personally, I thought the game looked phenomenal, it had great attitude, and paid loving tribute to the past. And then for the soundtrack, it really fits Bomb Rush perfectly. Even if this isn't my typical genre, the bassy beats, the hip-hop songs, they're excellent, even reminding me a bit of Street Fighter 3 back in the day. Another soundtrack that wasn't my taste per se, but I could appreciate it in the context of the game. I did think some of the lyrics got repetitive, but again, this isn't my genre of choice. I can simply recognize that these songs are perfect for this game's atmosphere. And while we're on the subject of sound, there's no real voice acting here outside of a few grunts and interjections characters will make from time to time. I swear, sometimes I wonder if they just record random members of the development team dropping the kids off at the pool to get the appropriate grunting sounds. Yo. You're either into this or not, but for me, it's kinda entertaining in this title, and the actual in-game sound design is mostly excellent. You know, the previews leading up to Bomb Rush Cyberfunk certainly made it look like a fun tribute to the good old SEGA days, but I'll admit, I wasn't expecting the game to be quite as excellent as it is. In all honesty, this ended up being one of my favorite games of 2023. The intuitive controls mixed with a shockingly fun story and world make Bomb Rush Cyberfunk a game you won't want to miss. It's an easy Golden Genie Lamp winner, and you patient Jet Set fans, wait no longer.